you know how it is. We're all in sales to some degree, right? We all done sales, and it's like, okay. In the end, it's not really about selling anything. I'm just talking about a solution that works for me. And why does a solution work for me? Because I notice that I have these problems with what I currently do or what is currently happening. For instance, I walk into an implant office, and first thing I do is, we talked about this. I walk in, and let's say I never met you before. You're the specialist, you're the doctor, and you're the front staff. I walk in, I don't know either one of you. Hi, I'm Henry, I'm from so-and-so, and give me 5 minutes of your time. Okay, let's just say we went through that. But when I first walk in, before that even starts, I walk into the office and I look at the place. Just like I did right now. I walk in, I go, I like the walls. I like the beams. I'm seeing things. And there's certain references to what I like or don't like are automatically going to come to my senses. And I'm going to see something. And I used to be an architectural designer, so I see architectural design in everything. So when I walk in, I go, oh, yeah, I see a little bit of, Tudor style here. I see a little bit of, Spanish colonial in the form of the way the internal walls plastered and such and so on and so forth. So I do that with a doctor's office. And I go, I wonder how they're managing their practice. You'll know within seconds. Bunch of people walking around, people with their heads cut off. You hear the phone ringing. You see people like the front desk not answering questions. You see a lot of things happen. And that would usually be my segue to, hey, Travis, how's it going? I'm Henry. I'm from, Keystone or One Click Referral. I just want to ask you a little about how things are working out in your office. Obviously I'm here to sell you something. So
yeah.
Let's start off with reality. I'm not going to here to try to find out all about your day because you don't really want to talk about your day yet. When you do, I'll be here. But right now, Here's what I'm here to talk about. And then you're going to say, oh, this is a normal day. Well, is this every day? This is every day. What if there was a better way? I'm just curious. If there was a better way, have you ever heard of it? Or have you seen it? Can you tell me of another place where there's a better way? And then that's usually how I'll start a conversation. And if I do it right, the person will say, hey, my doctor has a few minutes. Why don't you tell him what you just finished telling me? And I'll say something better. Well, hey, you know what? I know he's busy. So how about if I just schedule an appointment to go meet with him? And I just want to show him a little bit about how to make his office more predictable, how to make his patient load more predictable, how to create more stability within his means of patient management.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm here to talk about. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. Let's talk about how it works out. And there's the beginning. There's my intro. And that's how I start everything off with that particular conversation.
Yeah, you can tell walking in the office too, the quality practices or not.
Absolutely. So, and you can already tell.
Somebody that gets it or is it not. You can have walked in a lot of dental practices where you're like, this is not somebody that gets it. And then there's others you're like, I want to work with these guys.
Exactly.
And those are the ones that are really the good fit for One Click.
True.
So what are the key differences for you?
Like when I walked in AZ Max, five offices, 4 doctors, just the feel as you walk in, how organized everything is, the quality of the office, the team members, how they greet you. When they're trying to sharpen edges and they're already pretty sharp, even the paint and how, nice it looks inside, how new their equipment is, how dirty their desks are. All those different things. The bigger offices are a good fit for this too because it helps manage a lot of complexities of referrals. The smaller guys, they only get, a handful, but when you have multiple coordinators, people all over the place, you need a system to be able to organize it, and that's what the system does.
Our biggest complication isn't the product itself, and it isn't even the way we market the product. The problem is we're breaking against somebody's ego. Their ego breaks on this product. That's the problem with this product. When you talk to somebody, they automatically think they're doing it the right way. They're doing it. It's sort of like me telling you like there's a new way to drive your car. You're gonna be like, who the heck are you to tell me how to drive my car? And that's the first problem that we have with One Click is it really rubs against their ego, and it rubs against their ego the wrong way. It's implying that they don't know what the heck they're doing. And so I noticed that immediately. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to be really gentle about how I do this because I can walk in and say, hey, my implant does these things. Same thing, One Click does these things. And they're gonna say, why do you think I need another implant system? Why do you think I need another patient management system?
Yeah.
That's right. And you say, well, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying if there was an improvement to predictability, stability, efficacy, and thus an increase in the amount of money you make, would you be interested in hearing more about it? Mm-hmm. And that's my 30-second elevator pitch. Would you be interested if I could solve these problems? If you don't know you have the problems, what you're talking about. If you don't know you have the problems, you already have a problem, which we probably can't solve because they aren't there yet. They're not even in the mindset. And that's the problem with a lot of these sales, and especially salespeople, is they go out and try to recreate the wheel for these guys. They don't know how to assess who's the proper customer. The proper customer is somebody who's reached a point where they do this pendulum, not a big one, but a pendulum enough that creates frustration. Ugh, I wish it was easier to keep my patients on schedule. I wish I knew how much revenue I was going to make this month based upon predictability, some sort of predictability, other than looking at my books for the month before, the year
Managing
before.
the ups and downs of referrals and straightening that line out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where the key to OneClick was. So when I met Travis and he talked about it, I thought, wow, I don't have to talk about implants. And that's going to be the key to the implant guy if, again, same thing. I will tell you right now, I'm not like everybody else, or else we would be talking. Most implant reps aren't going to get this because they're not there. They're selling a product for their company, and they're being based upon that product, not understanding this is a force multiplier for the product.
Mm-hmm.
The guys are going to get it. The guys who are already are in the top 10 of their sales.
Strategic.
That's right. And they want to hone that edge more than it's already honed.
Mm-hmm.
The guys are just like a club, the shotgun guys. Let me just throw everything on the wall and see what sticks. This isn't going to work for them. This is for the guy who already has a system and doesn't have much of an ego that gets in the way of improving. So that's what I said. So we've niched to niche to niche to a very small niche in the very beginning. And the snowball will be within that group of people.
Yeah.
But finding them is going to be the hard part. It's not because of OneClick, but because of the state of 2020.
Yeah.
That's what did it.
Well, we have, BioHorizons interested in it, Nobel's interested. I mean, Keystone's interested in it. Now it's just kind of taking it. I think getting them. So we've now got the program down where it's working flawlessly. We have the implementation guide, which
I saw that.
and it's money. I mean, the emails, the talk tracks, everything. I mean, that in itself is a pretty big asset, just in that guide of how to implement something like this. And then now we need more people out there talking about it and pushing it.
I also like the fact that you created a fee structure for our time. If I'm going to walk in and go set up 10 offices, that's a lot of time and effort. Before my company would be supplying me revenue for that. So if I was going to go help somebody with a program, for instance. So the way we would sell it at Wes Emerson, hey Wes, what is your implant company doing for you? Oh, it's doing this. Okay, we can do this better. We're more predictable, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Henry, then what's the first thing you're going to do? Buy my system. Let's go introduce it to your referrals. And I'll go meet with each one of those referrals and basically become a sounding board. Let me find out what they think about you. And they think about your services and everything else you do. Because the people, a lot of times when it happens, we're all going to think we're great to everybody that we work with. But the reality is when you meet these people, they'll say, yeah, I can't stand that guy for this. He's the worst at extractions. Or, I really won't send him a full arch case. Or I won't do this. That's where the strength of this happens. So when I talk to someone like Bohannon, I say, hey, Bohannon, how much of a relationship do you really have with your people? Really? And that's what I told him. I said, how well do you know your people? Because I guarantee I'll know your people better than you will, because they won't be afraid to tell me what they won't tell you.
Yeah.
I'm also, if there's a way to improve there, at the very least, you're receiving this added benefit. And that's where OneClick, I think, has a huge value. The question is, how do we say that value without saying it just like I did? Hey, they may not like it, I'm going to find out. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it's got to be, since we're rolling this out at scale, it's got to be all systematized. It can't really necessarily be a person per se and
Right.
all that,
Right.
unfortunately, unless we scale up a big support organization. But at, $100 a month, that's going to be a little tough to do. So,
Well, that's where the other part comes in, and this is where your expertise is over mine. I don't know how to scale this. That we've discussed this many times. I don't know how to scale this other than implementation within a division of a company, for instance. Yeah, that's easy. We're going to have some process in place, then we're going to scale out. They're going to give us the people that we work with, and then we drop it off, and then we teach, and so on and so forth. I don't know if that same scale applies to these individual practices. So that's one of the places where I won't know that until we start doing it. You have a lot more experience with that because you've done it already.
yeah, I mean, I can say like with TDO Endo, we're kind of relying on them to market it, sell it, and support it a little bit. And then we're like tier 2 support.
Okay.
And I would look for even the implant companies to maybe have a point of contact that may be able to help. And then we would come in as kind of the next tier. But as much as we can, and this is why it's not in full launch mode, at least at the moment, is I want to make sure it's flawless on the implementation and have as much of that implemented electronically as possible.
Absolutely.
But there gets to the point where it's it's 99% flawless. Like you gotta just get it out there,
Right.
getting people using it.
Well, for instance, Bohannon, right? Again, he is a user, and I don't hear anything from him about whether or not he's even doing anything with it. So to me, what I was hoping is a product would be so
Who's that?
Bruce.
Bruce, yeah, I would hope that they would be so excited about what it does that somebody couldn't wait to have the implementation occur. And you saw that in the emails that woman just sent. She's excited and wants to get things going.
Yeah.
That somewhere
All of a
between
sudden,
that, exactly, somewhere between that we get to hear, and I want to know what's causing that, because
Yeah.
that it should be excitement elevates excitement, not a deceleration of excitement. So
Well, I think it's education first
Okay.
of all. It's constantly tracking. It's probably a series of emails that we've got in the system that go out to say, hey, here's your referral volume this week. It's some simple tweaks. It's not a ton more that we need. It's taking the implementation guide, breaking it up into pieces, and getting that out. But,
okay,
and it does take people. So that's what I like about rolling it out through the implant sales reps. They can then come back and say, oh, by the way, we gave you that as a part of this package. How's that going? What have we increased? What have you seen? And then having somebody check in and, Joanne and I have been working on developing the referral academy too, because one of the biggest things is most of these practices don't have referral coordinators.
no,
They don't have marketing coordinators that are actually managing this process for them. We're spoiled with like AZ Max and these that have multiples of them. That's why they're so successful.
that's right.
But like Carolyn Barthum, who we're rolling out all over New York for her, she has no marketing person. I'm like, well, unless you're paying us to do that, which we could do an outsourced version of it. I prefer to be the tool, not the referral coordinators, but maybe we scale up an organization. I've got people on the bench ready to do that. I've got about 10 of them across the United States that have boxes of buttons ready to go when we have somebody in their area to implement. So
I think that's going to become a necessity. I think it's going to become a necessity. I don't think we're going to be able to reach that other point of scalability because of that whole, what we just finished discussing is,
Do you need water?
I'm okay, thank
Are you
you,
sure?
appreciate it.
Okay, all right.
Because of what you just finished saying. A lot of these guys, like Wes, started out as a single oral surgeon, he had his assistants, and he grew his practice organically from that. And then as his practice grew, he just kind of added as quickly as he could for whatever he thought was going to be good. He didn't start off with a strategy that I'm going to grow my company this way, because no doctor's taught that. One thing that we have in our back pocket is education. We need to be able to educate these guys, and that education will sell itself because we built a relationship based upon, let me show you how to do this properly if their ego doesn't get in the way. So I do think you should have that level. That's what I was kind of assuming my role was going to be, was creating that in-between spot for us to be able to teach these people how to run a practice within this system, within this protocol.
Yeah, and there's a whole consulting opportunity there, even beyond the one-click stuff.
Oh, sure, absolutely. But that's just how I thought OneClick was going to go out there. Because think about it, when you and I met, we talked for just a little bit. I went out there and started talking to people about OneClick. Immediately, the first question was, who's the point of contact? And I went, well, it's kind of Travis. Well, no, it's not. It's you, Henry. You brought it up.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'm the point of contact now. That's what I think is going to happen with anybody who's working for OneClick as a rep or whatever. They're going to become that point of contact because it's going to be it's how it works now.
Mm-hmm.
If I sell people an implant system, I have to show them how to use it. And then I have to show them how to market it to make it more effective so I get more sales.
Well, that's where the certified referral coordinator comes in. We're going to get people that are, consultant. There's a lot of practice. I'm a part of the Academy of Dental Management Consultants. There's a lot of them that would love to get that extra little skill or certification to become, especially because they all want to work with specialists. Specialists are the ones with the money and the ones with leverage because they have a lot of GPs that they work with, right?
Correct.
Training them, certifying them on how to do it is, that's Joanne's expertise.
Yeah, that's her
done
gig.
that.
Yep.
So that's the beauty of having her involved with that is, and she and I are, we've obviously got to chase money here and there and different things that we're doing to keep the business flowing, but in the process, we're still building up all the education and content to be able to get it out.